Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Talking Horses. Keisha Clement, you're back.
I know. Happy to be here.
Yeah, you must have missed us down in Florida when you woke up and it was warm in the morning. You must have, I really wish I was coming out to Aqueduct to see the crew.
I mean, people don't believe me, but I really do love Aqueduct.
I know you do.
I love it here. You know that.
I know you
You
do.
know that I'm being completely serious about that. But yeah, I'm fresh off the layoff from my Talking Horses return.
That's right.
I tried to have some creative insight today, but
Good luck
there
with
was
that.
a little bit of a challenge. But we're getting warmed up. We're gonna be good.
We're voting for creativity. We're trying to make it happen wherever we can. We do have a pick six carryover day of just under $21,000. We'll get things rolling here. Keisha's got a nice long shift as soon as we're done here. You'll be happy at 4 o'clock when you're leaving, and
Yes.
I'm coming on until 7.
Yeah, I think I did well. Actually.
So it is, as we cover Oaklawn, who apparently is racing today, despite the fact that they've had a lot of rain, and they expect to get a whole lot more this afternoon, and a deluge tomorrow. Tough weather in the Midwest. Obviously, Keeneland canceled those first opening day, 2 days. They moved them to Monday and Tuesday. Hopefully, they'll be able to get started on Sunday. Head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match the $200 of your initial deposit. We have a pick six carryover, as we mentioned, $33 short of $21,000. Starts in race 3 of our 8-race card. We have, I just don't know the order. The contests are back. You have a $300 buy-in. You have until early in the day tomorrow to sign up for that. And, Bank Frenzy is running Sunday, actually, but the contest will be Saturday. Did you make it for Farbridge's return? Or there were so many people in the winner's circle, they probably didn't even allow you in there.
No, I was at
you were at
Oaklawn. Yeah, I was at Oaklawn. I was watching the race on that little platform at Oaklawn and screaming because it was a little close there. I was a little bit stressed for the running of the race. And Maggie and Richie turned around and kind of looked at me like I had 3 heads until they realized what I was screaming
Right,
about.
because Maggie's never. One of my favorite Maggie moments is in Saratoga a number of years ago, and Maggie, I only tell this story because she would laugh if she were here, and she may be listening anyway. She was in a foul mood. Now, we all get in foul moods from now and again, and certainly totally understandable. And then Tom had that horse that upset the Secretariat. He beat Analyze It, the Donegal horse that upset the Secretariat. And she came running over. She was so happy. I go, now you're in a good mood?
It's amazing how those few inches at the wire can totally change the course of the day.
Yes, and we've all been there. We're all horse players too, and we all get that. And your mood can swing quite quickly, and especially nothing like a win to make you feel better. I was thinking about Farbridge, and obviously it wasn't exceptional effort by him, just able to get by a long shot.
Well, he's a mile and a half off the layoff.
Well, but also I was thinking about last year when he won his return. I know it was going shorter, but it was a somewhat of an unimpressive performance.
Yeah,
I think
it
he got
was.
like a high 80s buyer, and you're thinking, geez, I don't know, where's he going from there? And these horses, they don't normally come back and run their biggest race. I'm glad he's back, because as you know, I am one of his biggest fans.
Me too.
Contests, you have until tomorrow, around post time tomorrow, to sign up for that. Check out the information at nairabets.com/contests. We have a $2,500 hit and split. Late pick 5 here at Aqueduct. Got to opt in for that. I'll have to opt in over for that. Do that right now. What else do we have? Cross country big 5. Eddie wanted to do this yesterday, but we're doing it today.
He was
Everything's
excited.
Going.
Yeah.
He was very,
I
very
missed
excited.
Eddie.
I don't miss him. It's funny how I just not really.
Absence makes the heart
I'm
grow
not away
fonder.
from him long enough to miss him. And finally, we are on. I think we have some changes. Right, 1 to 5 on FS2. 5. We're on actually 5 to 7 on FS1. That's what happens, Eddie, when you put the full times in. That's why you stop doing it. Anyway, 5 to 7 FS1, because they want to come back to cover those Oaklawn races. All right, race number 1. We'll take a look at Petrolo finishing 3rd last time out. I don't know if you've tried to pick against this horse, Acacia. I understand this horse doesn't exactly have the accoutrements of a horse you want to take a short price on, but I'm not trying to beat this horse. I don't know why I should.
I took a small shot with Boss 302 stretching out, but really Petrolo is very much the horse to be. And he's a horse that has the ability to be forwardly placed as well. Last time out, though, I thought, with the post and the way that he was traveling, caught a little bit wide in that race. And it did look like kind of early on when going the mile in an 1/8, and I know that he's won going a mile in the 16th, mile in 70 before, but it looked watching the most recent effort at the 9 furlongs that he really kind of got off the bridle, put his head up in the stretch, and that's when he ended up getting caught. He got caught by 2 nice horses, both of which came back to win, but I have always thought Boss 302 wants to go long. I'm riding the Ilkay Cantromasi wave here, and I'm just hoping that they're aggressive with him stretching out and he's forwardly placed.
Yeah, I think he won a race on a gold rail. I didn't obviously really get him at all. Petrola lost two horses that would be 1 to 9 in this
Yeah,
field if they came back and
definitely.
run. And I agree, he's not the kind of horse that, you see it, whether it's Kevin Bond and Kai Barcoa, you're thinking, boy, they don't have too many 4 to 5 shots. But I'm going to tell you something, this horse is 2 to 1 right now. This is a horse that on paper, in my opinion, should be 3 to 5 in
Yes.
here.
Yeah.
He may lose. I'm not fully confident. I actually think that my friend Steve Bixworth's Landauer has a bit of a shot in this race. I thought, if anything, you wanted somebody else to fall apart. I thought Petrolo is supposed to be in front. I think that Kaibar is riding a horse that is the best horse in the race, and you have to ride them like the best horse in the race. And thought he'd be in front. We'll see what happens in race number 1. Race number 2, we'll look at my buddy Lee Einsteidler's Silo Ridge, who is going to be an overwhelming favorite, and with just cause. He
Yep.
was outside. The rail was good this day. I thought he ran a winning race.
I thought he did too. Well, I'm glad to hear that you felt that him being outside kind of was up against, made him be up against it a bit, because I felt at first looking at this race and looking on paper that it seemed like this was a race he should have won with the drop in class with the blinkers on. But that said, he was game to the wire. And if being outside was not the best benefit for him, he was able to get forward position, even though he didn't break the quickest from the gate. Look, certainly just on the races that he's run, I think he's the horse to beat.
Yeah, I didn't pick him, but I have absolutely nothing against him in here, and he's probably going to win this race at a short price. You're taking the 2 Face the Facts off the claim for Michelle Giangulio off an extended layoff as well.
Yes. Well, had one race off that big
Right, the
layoff.
second
Yeah.
of the
So
layoff, right.
second off today. Was last early on and just didn't really kind of kick on from there. I'm hoping we see a little bit of that early speed back that we did see. Comes in with a couple of really sharp workouts as well for Michelle, making the first start for the barn. Maybe he's just not that good anymore. But with Kendrick Carmouche aboard, second off the layoff, again, hoping we go back to some of that early speed, see if he can be a little bit more effective today.
All right, I took a shot with Aries Magic as the other horse in this race, and I feel like he is the other horse. I mean, Cam Duke will go to the lead, but he seems to fold no matter what the circumstances are. And as far as Aries Magic, you have a horse that made his debut at Tampa, the 70 buyer, so he had some promise. Now, they tried to stretch him out to a mile at Gulfstream where, nothing good ever happens. And then they tried the turf. Long layoff. He was obviously in Christoph's barn after that. I don't think he ran badly in his return race in November. That was a race that completely fell apart. They were significantly better horses than these. And then obviously things went badly wrong in a subsequent start on a sloppy sealed track against a field where there's probably 7 horses that would be favored in this race. So I just thought he might be a little bit interesting, dropping down, coming back. I don't have any great confidence in him. Like you, I want an alternative. He was mine. Face the Facts is yours. We'll see what happens in race number 2. Race number 3. Now, this race was dramatically changed by scratches when Magnolia Midnight came out, a horse who, if not the favorite, was certainly going to be taking a lot of money in here. And that really changes things. It also changes the pace scenario. And now a horse like Tabawatch, and we'll take a look at Tabawatch 3 races back when he beat Costa Terra, 3 races back for that one, because they are 2 interesting horses to talk about. And they're kind of mirror each other. But now with the scratches, Tabawatch could find himself in a controlling position. And this race not only changed from a talent standpoint, it changed from a dynamic standpoint. But the question you have to ask yourself, because these are sort of twins, right? Tabagos gets claimed by 80 for Tabawatch, by Linda Rice, and runs horribly for the second time in a row. When you're third by 18, it's a 3-horse field. You're essentially eased, and now she's dropping from 80 to 40. And then there's Costa Terra, who runs 2 bad races. Now, at least he's not dropping, but he had his drop in his last race.
Yep.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I copped out and said, all I do is see Brad Cox and Sandy Goldfarb do well off the claim. They're like
know.
6 for 10 over the last 6 months, claiming horses in New York. And I'm just going to hope he gets better. But the dynamic changed not only against him, but in the favor of the 1A. So while he's glad the 4's out, there's no pace for him to run out. He doesn't have
Yeah.
much speed, so the 1A may have an advantage You're trying to beat them both, and I don't blame you.
Yeah, Mystical Curlin was the horse that was kind of on the bubble for me when I was first handicapping this race. But like you said, when the pace scenario just changed so
He's
dynamically,
got to be stalking, right?
I
Or
thought he was going to be right
or
off
in
the
front,
hip of
yeah.
Tabawatch, and
Maybe even in front.
He might be if he's sharp off the layoff. And I like Mystical Curlin going a little bit longer. You know, his better races are going the 9
Yeah, yeah.
furlongs and going the 2 turns. But I just don't trust Tabawatch after the last couple of races that
can't.
we've seen. He's hard to trust. So
Both of these horses
yeah.
are they look like damaged goods.
Yes.
Mystical Curlin, I haven't heard back from the guy on Twitter who told me after he broke his maiden on May of 2023 by 19 lengths that they should go right to the Whitney.
Oh.
But if you're out there and you're watching, he's yours for 40,000 today, and the
Today
Whitney,
could be your
the Whitney's
day.
only 4 months away.
Yeah.
So you've got some time, and
Yeah.
maybe it's the 2025 Whitney you should go to altogether. And I hate to forget the very stupid things that people say on the internet. I can't remember them all, but there are quite a few. Listen, the thing that's interesting about him is he really he wasn't. Obviously, that was anybody with a brain knew it was an aberrant wet track race, and you wanted to see it again, et cetera, et cetera. Having said that, until his last race, he had held his form very well. The one thing that bothered me a little bit, if he had been running July, August, and then
Very
it's like you
consistent.
say, okay, he had been running for 10 straight months, and they wanted to give him a break. It feels like he's off for 2 months, he runs a terrible race, and now he's been out for 7 months.
Yeah.
But
It's a bit of a long break. Obviously, maybe a little bit of an issue behind the scenes. You can understand a horse having the winter off. And and now he is dropping off the bench too. But, you have to give it to him. He's been remarkably consistent throughout his career, ran that bad race last time out and then was sidelined. So I just thought tactically he was the one that I
Well,
thought
it makes
would
sense.
be benefit from the alternative. But look, I think trust is a very big stretch
But
in this field.
he's not going to be a short price.
Right.
The 1A and the 7 are going to be the two choices in here. And even alternate reality. The one problem I have with alternate reality, who I think is not impossible, its big figure was a sloppy seal track.
Yes, that's
and
true.
it just wonder if he. But on the other hand, if the 1A and 7 just aren't able to really run anymore, at least he's the one that has the best recent efforts.
He does. He does. He has the most consistency in his last couple of races than any of the big players.
See what happens in here. There are a lot more questions than answers in race number 3. Race number 4, another mile and an. If
Do we
you
break
looked
here
at this
before the
field,
late pick
what's
five?
that?
Do we break before
We'll
the late
break
pick
after
five?
the.
After
No, we'll
this.
break after this race.
Okay. I'm out of practice.
It's fine. And I forget. When I was looking at this race, starting it out, it didn't even occur to me that this was a mile and an eighth race. Because I looked at the inside 3, the first page, when I print them,
I know.
and I said, oh, this must be like 7. And I looked up, I thought,
Yeah.
mile and an eighth, and I think that's a big question. We have both picked the number 5 Neon Bordeaux. Talk about why you like them. And I don't love them, believe me.
No, I think, again, like is a strong word in here. But off of a layoff last time out, did win and break his maiden, was kind of chasing there and was really game down to the wire. That was a mile win off of a bit of a layoff. So that gives a little bit of extra credit. Now, first off the claim for Rick Dutrow. Can he handle the distance? I don't know. Pedigree-wise says that he should be able to. I thought he certainly tactically was in a better position last time that he was kind of early on in his races, where he started out at a mile and a 16th on debut, which led me to believe that even Rusty Arnold, who had him first, thought distance would be his friend.
Yeah, no, I think it is his friend. He's a Constitution. He did get a very good trip to win last time. I'll be honest. To me, it was somewhat of a battle of attrition where I handicapped here because, listen, maybe Omi Island is going to win this race, but the pace projector doesn't have them in front, which is sort of odd because I have trouble seeing them not go from the rail with a horse who's shown he can be forward in sprint races. I didn't really want him going
6 to 9 furlongs is a lot, yeah.
I didn't want him going that, but he did run a big figure 2 back, and I don't want to ignore it. I don't like Tomicon, claimed away off a gold rail trip in his last race against I know Six Kings came back and ran well, and so did our man Ira, the Ira horse. So maybe that race a little better than it looks. Timaeus claimed away from Linda off an aberrantly big number, but I will say with Timaeus, at least this horse has some consistency, and you've got him second.
That's honestly the main reason. Just that he's run well at a variety of distance. I know both of his wins have come sprinting, but he's run fine going a mile. Overall, he hasn't really done anything wrong.
I agree. I thought the 4, who are we showing now? Timaeus? I'm sorry. I'm a little bit. I forgot about the replays. I apologize, Eddie. And this is Timaeus' last win. I agree. At least unlike the one Omi Island, unlike the Tutankhamun, he has consistent figures in the low to mid 70s. So you feel as though he's a horse that at least he'll give a decent account of himself with some reliability. And I think Burning Beauty is very similar, right? He consistently runs those numbers.
He always kind of closes to pick up a piece.
I worry about his lack of speed, but isn't this pace supposed to be honest in
Yeah,
here?
it should be.
So I thought they would be moving. And I think yesterday's track was the first at least close to a bias I have seen since the end of February, where inside and the speed was pretty good, but there were enough races where horses closed and outside runners did well that I don't want to get carried away with it, but I think there was a hint of a bias yesterday, especially with the track
Early,
speeding
I
up
think.
as much
Yeah.
as it did. We haven't seen
Yeah.
times like that too often this winter. And as far as Mad Banker will show, if he runs his 82
Ooh.
figure, which he did around 2 turns in this race, he's going to be tough. My
Where did that
question is,
come from?
where the hell did it come from? And
Yeah.
I know it's Jamie Ness. He's got crazy. You know that Jamie Ness, off a win in dirt routes over the last 5 years, he's wanted a 33% clip with a $1.71 ROI. So
Wow.
he's at the takeout basically. The amazing thing is not just that he's won a 30% clip. He's 741. He's 241 for 741. So he has over the last 5 years 741 horses that came back off a win into a dirt route. So that's
Wow.
that's 150 a year basically. One every 2 days, Jamie Ness brought a horse back. Not even 150 years, one out of probably 3/4 of the days they were
Right.
racing. So
And off a win.
75% of the racing days that he was involved in, he had a horse coming in a dirt route off a win.
Wow. He doesn't like sprints like that much, I guess.
Well, it's funny with Jamie, he actually has better numbers with router. You look up his
Yeah.
off the claim with routers, his numbers are off the charts, not nearly as good with sprints. And it is kind of interesting.
interesting.
Because a lot of times it's the other way around.
Right,
So
usually.
I just don't trust him because,
I know.
like so many, where's the rest of his form?
And he's going through condition claiming races at Laurel coming into this race, so.
And he's certainly meeting a field of tigers here. We'll take a break. Casey and I will be back with the late pick 4 in just a moment.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horse Occasion. Andy, race number 5, big scratch of Find Your Joy in here that takes out the main speed. And we'll take a look at Coquito, 2 races back at Aqueduct before going down to Laurel. And isn't she very likely going to find herself in the lead with Trade Secret again in this race? I mean,
Yes, yeah.
I scratched into her. Do I love her on the drop down? A horse that, no, I don't love her on the drop down, but I'm also not betting against. I mean, keep in mind, this is a win against $25,000 non-winners at 3 lifetime. Where is Rudy supposed to run her where she's competitive? So I don't love the drop down, but in this field, I'm not trying to beat her with what's left in here.
And Rudy Rodriguez did win yesterday with Chasing Daylight, making a big drop in class. And
Ran well in the
yeah,
race,
she did.
actually.
And this is one who does have some speed. I was stuck with Trade Secret with the scratches. Is coming back in just 7 days. Linda Rice does this often and does it well, though. Blinkers coming on and stretching out, which I thought was interesting. Kind of a lot of changes in just a short amount of time and coming right back into the entry box. And so I just kind of stuck with this one, a horse that I know doesn't win a lot, but has been consistent overall.
Yeah, I don't like either of her recent races, and listen, I'm not going to be shocked. I don't think Everly's Girl is particularly competitive in here. Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me doesn't seem too competitive. Halo City, I mean, I can't get over how badly Halo City ran last time. And she was
She's
also on the
so
rail
far
for a
back,
lot of the
too.
race, and she's so slow. I always want to bet her because I have an affinity for her, and she might win. She'll be my backup. We'll see what happens. Trade Secret, the 8-5 favorite.
Wow.
Well, the drop for Linda. I do not like that horse, but I'm wrong a lot. So, race number 6, Amundsen scratched. Of course, if you're not familiar, his trainer John Toscano Jr. passed away over the last few days, and you know, if you're a regular at the track and you're around or other places and you know John, he's such a kind man and always nice to see him. And of course, his son John works for us as well. But the whole family, I mean, I've been around the racetrack a long time, and you know, a lot of us sort of grew up together in the sense that we were kids and you saw each other at tracks. But our condolences to the family and a guy who will be missed. You know, he was a nice.
Absolutely.
It was just always nice to run into John in the hall, and I ran into him a lot. You know, and. A very nice man, and so
Well
he
said.
will be missed.
Absolutely.
And Amundsen scratched. I assume it's related to that. Does change the race because he's a big player. We'll take a look at Horse Be With You and Montebello out of this race. And I'm going to be honest. I'm mad that I didn't bet Horse Be With You last time because it was a horse I've had a thing for. But I'm taking Brad Cox and Sandy Goldfarb off the claim again. I don't know. I know it's kind of a cop-out, but I don't know. They just do so well together. I didn't really see anybody else I wanted. So I've got these horses now 1-2 after the scratch.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense. Horse Be With You did leap up a little bit out of the gate and kind of bumped into the neighbor, but I didn't think it really impeded him that much
Got a
and was
good
game
trip
to the
after that.
wire. Very good trip after that, for sure. And then Montebello's last couple of races since finding the right level have been good, and he's been popular at the claim box recently. Took a little bit of a shot with Hey Toby, who I think was just way over his head last time out, and he does have quite a bit of early speed, and I think just going back to the level at which he belongs.
No, I don't disagree with any of that. He's supposed to be in front in this race. You know, I sort of fought with myself over his race 2 back because I'm just not sure it's as good. I mean, Timeform has it even more highly rated than Bayer does.
Oh, interesting.
So, but I'm not buying it, looking at the rest of his form, but I totally get where you're going with him, and he does appear to be the speed in this race, and he's not going to be favored. Race number 7. Race number 7. Well, here's the third of the Brad Cox horses that I'm going to take. Listen, I mean, I look at these races and I look at him, and it's, you know, once again, for me in handicapping, you always, the question every race is always, where do I stand on the favorite? And you are going to be more interested in betting on a race where you can make a case against the favorite, betting it as an individual race and not just as a race in a multi-race bet. We'll take a look at him 2 races back at Churchill, or is it Churchill? It's last time. No, I'm sorry, last time at Churchill. He did not run well at Keeneland. He was a little shuffled out of that race. It was a 2-turn race. But so was this. I don't know. Why am I not supposed to like this horse?
No.
He looks like he's pretty talented to
There's
me.
absolutely no reason. Comes in off the layoff, been training down in Florida at Payson Park, and this is the time of the year you'll see some of these horses coming up from Florida, and they just are, you know, looking good in their coat and in their weight, training down there in the sun, and it's a benefit for sure. He was game winning that day at Churchill. He is the half brother to Kentucky Oaks winner She Dares the Devil, so I know that there were high hopes for him throughout. I thought it was interesting with Big Blue Line. I was reading.
See his last if you want.
Oh, yeah.
Go
I was
ahead.
reading quotes in the DRF from Will Walden when he said, I still don't really know what the best surface and distance is for Big Blue Line, which I thought was interesting because he's tried a lot with him recently. Looking at my
I
notes,
keep him off the turf.
I thought mile on the dirt was his best spot. And so that's why I'm going to give him a chance in here. I know that this was on synthetic at Turfway last time out, but he ran a really big race at Saratoga this summer in a big field that day as well, and competitive field. And I thought he was interesting getting back to the dirt.
I don't disagree. I worry about his complete lack of speed.
Yes, he comes from
You know,
far off of
and
it.
Star of Wonder's not a bullet, but I think he can be a bit forward. I worried that was that was the distinction I made because, like you, I didn't want the horses we've seen so much of. Maybe Power Seeker comes back for Linden, does well off 7 months. The rail might not have been the place to be last time, but he's in the Big Blue Line lane and he got smoked in there. Nelson Avenue, what happened to his speed?
I know.
I mean, he couldn't even make the lead going 1 1/8 last time. I know it was Mama's Gold. Mama's Gold's quick, but he did not have his normal lick.
Thomas Gold is like a big galloping type too. You know, you would think he should be.
He has ran some huge races. Winner, we'll see what he does at 10 furlongs tomorrow. A lot of people like Repo Rocks in here, and people I respect. I know he's faced some better horses. I just wonder. He just seems like, for the most part, he's been a bit random.
Yes, and there was at one point when he was on that stretch where he was running really fast races and running consistently really, really well. And
That was a while ago.
it was a while ago.
at least
He's
2 years ago.
7 now. And I know he was second to Bookham Dano last time
It was a
out.
three-horse field.
Exactly. That was a very
He
nice
did beat the third horse
comment.
by a half length.
At least he beat the other one to finish second. And then prior to that, I didn't think his race at Laurel Two Back was good at all. I don't know. I kind of felt like he's lost a step a little bit.
Yeah,
Did he take a step forward? Maybe.
I kind of wanted the horses, and I know they're the first and second choices, but the horses that have the more recency, or,
Yeah.
I know it's been since November the two ran.
But fresh faces in this group.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not going to be shocked. I mean, Jamie Ness, Rebel Rocks, but it seems like it's been a while since he ran particularly well. Race number 8. I think that we both ended up on the same horse in race number 8, Despo's Dream. I just desperately took the drop down.
Me too. Big drop in class for a horse that's been running against tougher, claim for 40,000, but she broke her maiden for 20, so it just kind of feels like this is where she belongs.
I have no issue, once again, with people that don't want to bet her. Her recent form kind of sucks, and Linda's dropping her a lot. She seems to do pretty well. 50% drops on dirt. Linda's 32% with 133 starters, $1.77. I did not look up maidens. She's actually better in sprints, where she's almost a $2 ROI and about a 36% win percentage. I got to look up. I forgot to leave the maidens out of there. I wonder, is she really going to be second choice to Shaman Princess? And we'll show Shaman Princess when she ran second. 2 races back, and Ali's Song ran third. I will say one thing for Shaman Princess. Her form has improved lately. And I guess she's the logical horse in here if you don't trust the 8 on the 6 on the drop down.
She is. Now, Shaman Princess is 1 for 17 with 5 seconds, coming off back-to-back second place finishes.
And 0 for 11 on the dirt.
And 0 for 11 on the dirt, exactly. But to be fair, this day, I thought she ran fine. The claim was voided. She came back at the same level. She ran well behind Short Shift, who would come back to win again with a 68 buyer speed figure in her subsequent start. So she does have a little bit more speed than Despo's Dream. I just prefer Despo's Dream slightly because she's been running against better, whereas Shaman Princess has been at this level.
I agree, and I can't pick Santagata again. I'm 0 for 2 with a combined loss of around 40 lengths in 2 races, but she does take another big drop, and I'm not going to leave her out because I have mad love for her.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, she broke her maiden nicely back in
I
July. Hopefully she can get back to that and blinkers on today as well.
I just don't know if she can run at all anymore, her last 2 races. I mean, you want to forgive her race off
I
the
know.
layoff,
I
but
know.
she was horrible again last time, and Horacio is rightfully dropping her. Keisha, was fun.
It
Glad to
was.
have you back. It's always nice to have you back,
Yeah,
and it
good
also
to be
means
back.
that turf racing and good weather
I
can't
know.
be far behind. Did you have a good time down in Florida?
I
Did you get to
did.
Payson a lot?
I did. Yes, I did. I love
so
training
nice
at
there, isn't
Payson
it?
in the winter. It really is the best. It is awesome, and it's nice because you get a lot of horses that can go out in the round pens and go in the paddocks. Some of the big horses, stakes quality horses for all of the barns that are stabled down there, just stay at Payson through the winter. They don't go to the farm, so you get a chance to see them coming back and all their preparations, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was down there for a weekend and didn't go to Gulfstream, but did go to Payson.
Yeah.
See him train when it was freezing cold. I think you were at Tampa that day.
No, it was
But
here.
you were here.
Yes.
That's right. You had to come back
Yes.
here. I felt really bad, right, about that. And it was too late. By the time I said,
Yeah.
I could cancel my trip and stay, you were already coming up. And I ran into Christophe, your father-in-law. I saw
Yeah.
Charlotte as well. I don't know if I saw Miguel. I don't know if he was there that morning, but
He was
so
there running around somewhere.
yeah, it was just nice to catch up with both of them and see them, and it's just such a nice. I mean, it's just you can understand why people love being there. It's it's very serene,
It is.
and it's just it was just a wonderful morning once it got a little bit warmer out.
Yeah.
But
It is the best. Horses get to really be horses.
yeah, it was a really nice way to spend a morning.
Yeah.
It not that dissimilar to the Oklahoma, just a little less busy, but busy,
Yes.
but not quite as busy as
Yeah.
the Oklahoma
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
But
for
it was
sure.
a very nice setting. Anyway, great to have you back. Thank you for watching. Head over to Naira Bets. Use the promo code MATCH200. We'll match for $200 of your initial deposit. We have a pick 6 carryover, $20,967. I'm not even going to mention that Eddie didn't show this before the third race. I'm not even going to. You did, and I didn't
did.
notice it. Okay,
saw it.
I apologize.
I
don't,
got
I
you,
don't
Eddie.
actually, I don't really feel bad about that, to be honest. I'm going to be able to get through the rest of my day. The $2,500 hit and split on the late pick. Oh, no, wait. Sorry. Got ahead of myself. Contest, right, Eddie? Contest is next. You have until post time tomorrow. The $300 Saturday contest through Naira Bets and Naira Bets only are back. And it's not Farbridge, but it's the same colors as that is Bank Frenzy, who's on a big winning streak. He's running Sunday in a very, very good running of the New York Red Stake. Now we have the $2,500 hit and split, late pick 5, opt in for that, takes about 1 second. We have a cross country pick 5, 2 at Aqueduct, races 6 and 7, 3 at Oaklawn, 6, 7, and 8. Kyle, you ready? Big day, excited? Yeah, Kyle's very excited.
He's
for that.
pumped.
6 hours upstairs for you with us? Excellent. We'll be on the train together after the show. And last but not least, we're on from 1 to 7. First 4 hours on FS2. The last 2 will be on FS1, 7 o'clock through the last race at Oaklawn, which they always conveniently run right after the hour, the half hour. Yes. We're done. Chris Griffin's just getting started. He's up next. Reprise the scratch and changes. Have a great day.
Horse racing? Check. Weekly promotions? Got 'em. Huge payouts? You bet. With Naira Bets. Download the app today and bet on any track, anywhere, anytime with live HD horse races, betting tips and tutorials, expert picks, and more. You bet with Naira Bets. Join now for a new member bonus at NairaBets.com.